Welcome back to Warptorio. After overpowering the base with warp modules, last time we, with some difficulty due to some ingredients refusing to stack into an assembler, 3D printed the Power Armor Mark III, or the Warp Armor, and the Spidertron Mark II, or the Warp Strider. This allows us to run an even more OP variant of the most OP offensive mobile setup known in Factorio. The ultra tanky Warp Strider with over 9000 hit points will become our armor, which frees up the actual power armor for 40 personal laser offenses. But the majority of our striking power will come from the AK-47 equivalent under the rocket launchers, the Warp Strider's 8 alternating rocket launcher pod. But of course, that doesn't mean we can rush into battle like a headless chicken, as if we start simply blasting biter bases, they stop absorbing pollution due to, not existing anymore. Which means instead the pollution will spread out to new biter bases, and will soon cover, for example, these 5 giant biter nests around our mining platform. Now, the couple handfuls of gun turrets we call a defense are doing a decent job protecting the mines from the genuine little bit of pollution generated by the mining platforms themselves, but they are not going to fare well against the massive biter attacks generated by the insane pollution of the warp platform. So, we need a plan. We will first take out these 5 biter bases plus the scattered expansion scraps surrounding the mining platform, before we will jump out the front door to clear the map from the center out. Our plan then involves hoping that the massive warp platform pollution doesn't spread out quicker than we can keep clearing the biters. Yeah, I never said it was a good plan. Anyway, these battles should be easy, as these nests are protected by the low 2nd tier medium worms instead of the endgame 4th tier behemoth worms. So let's hold off on firing rockets initially and try rushing in with just the laser offenses to see what they can do. Well, we slice through the biter bases like a laser through hot butter, and the medium worms fall easily without even being able to take my shields down, let alone damage the spider. But the following mass of behemoth biters and spitters forms a tanky and efficient distraction for my laser offenses. Since our laser offenses are powered from the limited personal batteries in the power armor, let's start using rocket assists to clean everything up. And that's the first nest down. Easy, but these nests are still small compared to the more distant ones, and more importantly, didn't feature those deadly behemoth worms. Anyway, ideally we would take out biters from the unpolluted outside and then proceed inwards, but unfortunately we cannot really do so. The black hole biter biomass has already started to lower my UPS again, and engaging in combat against massive biter bases is further going to increase time dilation towards quasi-static game time progression. No, the problem is not just the biters. It is neither the biters outside of the pollution cloud, nor the biters who have already arrived at the warp platform which are slowing down time. The problem biters are the ones that have been called to form an attack group and are currently pathfinding their way to our warp platform. And even though on our home planet their pathfinding calculations are much easier than in Warp Zone 8, because we don't have any lakes, cliffs and heck even trees in the way, the sheer amount of pathfinding biters are still starting to cause lag. Since it is the warp platform's immense pollution which is summoning all those biters from the biter bases currently buried under its pollution cloud, the only way to stop the game from dropping to unplayable speeds again, like in Warp Zone 8, is to eliminate the biter bases currently present in the pollution cloud. which indeed means taking them out from the center outwards. The problem with that is that the pollution cloud is so astronomically more intense than anything a normal factory would produce. It is going to grow in size incredibly rapid once we punch a hole in the pollution ozone layer by taking out the pollution absorbing biter bases. Anyway, after no diffing the other 5 nests around our mining platforms, we pop back in and out through the front door. And out through the front door, where we very diff show the biters who's boss, before we are finally starting to take out the uncountable number of biter expansions, which have started forming here since we crash landed on this planet all this time ago. And which have actually been coming in handy. All those extra biter bases sprinkled around have been absorbing the warp platform's pollution cloud, buying us a little more time by keeping the distant mining platforms out of the pollution cloud for a little longer, and even saving us some UPS by keeping the overall pollution cloud slightly smaller. Anyway, erasing all those pollution sponges is quickly going to push the pollution cloud outwards. Even the naturally spawned bigger nests won't protect us against that, as there's simply a limit as to how much pollution per minute a nest can absorb. That means playing Mike's questionable decision to spend dozens of rocket launches and tens of thousands of science packs on a handful of damage upgrades on our personal laser offenses and explosive rockets may actually turn out to have been a good decision, as we will be able to speed through clearing out the bug infestation that much quicker. Thanks to our fully warp-beaconed base being able to burn through thousands of science pack costing infinite space science technologies, we are now in possession of the incredible Laser Damage 11, costing 28,000 science, but which boosts our damage enough so that we can now two-shot big biters and, more importantly, two-shot biter nests. As well as 4-shot any worm, insta-kill big spitters, and it brings the total shots needed to kill a behemoth biter down to just 15. That sounds like a lot, until you remember we've got 40 personal laser offenses equipped. Now, of course, the behemoth biters will come in large groups as well, but we intend to quickly reduce their reinforcement capabilities by insta-killing multiple of their spawn points with a single hit of one of our stray explosive rockets. Eventually, once we will enter territory further away from spawn, the biter bases will become incredibly large and well equipped. Massive 600% maximum sized biter bases armed to the teeth with dozens of highly dangerous behemoth worms. But for now though, we are mostly fighting against the expansion speed of the pollution cloud. After having taken out most of the biters in the sickest part of the pollution cloud, our UPS has increased back up to 60, but the new formed holes in the ozone layer are starting to ooze out pollution into new areas quickly. It is clearly visible once we take a look at the map. The pollution on the right side has already covered over half the distance towards the biter bases behind our mining platform. This is bad news. But our maximum UPS has increased from 40 up to 120, twice the normal value. So, after we take care of the base a bit to make sure all production continues, we order the bots to bring us another 20,000 rockets. Despite clearing none of the really big bases just yet, and even parts of the biters with just the personal laser offenses, we have already spent over 10,000 rockets out of the 30,000 we initially brought. This might get expensive. By the time we make it back outside, the pollution cloud has already started to be suspectably sniffable by the biter bases beyond our mining platforms. We have no time to lose. We need to take them out before they start sending sizable biter groups straight through our mining platforms. We are starting to get far enough out for the nests to become quite large. So large in fact that I have to set the game to be able to zoom out much further than usual to get the image across. Despite that, we are still not far enough out for behemoth worms, although the former squishy medium worms have grown up here to become big worms. Let's engage and see how it goes. Well, they are still no match it seems. We have even taken out our shields, opting to just tank the damage with the 9000 hit point super resistant spider itself, instead of constantly draining the battery to charge up depleted energy shields. We are, however, a bit too late already with our attacks. And some of the biter groups on the way to the warp platform are accidentally parting through our mining platforms. And even such a small group already causes significant damage. Those groups are only gonna get larger from here on out, but with no automated repairs, even these small groups will eventually overwhelm the mining platforms simply through a war of attrition. For some reason I put back the energy draining shields again. But the real purpose of the scene is the spider's raw speed. This shot should get the point across speedily. There's nothing like a nightly laser show followed by the smell of napalm explosions in the morning. We have another close call at our stone mine here. But instead of acting upon it, we simply continue on like nothing happened. Big mistake, boy, as mere seconds later There's several more giant groups about to bulldoze through our base. I finally see the urgency and call back the Warp Strider, but is it already too late? Regardless, we are here to watch the show. Oof, that was in the nick of time. And there are several more large groups who are just missing our miners. Several more small attacks destroyed a couple gun turrets during our ongoing onslaught on the biters. But eventually we clear out most of the immediate danger to our miners. But instead change it out for a major danger to our spider. It's those darned energy shields. They are about to completely drain our batteries, and since shields have dips on power over lags, this means the spider will revert back to its extremely slow basic walking speed, which will quickly be further diminished to barely moving at all due to the stacking slowdown effect of the acid flung around by worms and spitters. Yep, it's panic time. That should have been much worse. If this had happened in the center of a large nest instead of on a waterside strip, it would have been game over for sure. Well, we have took out almost all biters which could possibly pathfind through our mining platforms. But every minute we take clearing out those is a minute that our main enemy grows stronger. The UPS is starting to suffer again, and especially during combat the black hole biters manage to slow down the game to half its intended pace. Nevertheless, Warp Zone 8 told us we can power through that, so we make sure our miners are absolutely safe for the rest of the game before we will shift our focus back to the time-dilating black hole biters in the center of our known universe. The coast is clear, so we repair our damaged mining fields, rebuild the oil wells, and to our relief find out the base is producing rockets faster than we are spending them. We have spent another 10,000 rockets protecting the miners, but the base, under the influence of the warp modules, has turned every single explosive into 2. Then those 2 explosives into 4 regular rockets, and those 4 regular rockets into 8 explosive rockets. 8 times the bang for the buck, resulting in roughly 15,000 replacement rockets for us to utilize. Nice. It is not long before we need to face the big boy nests now, but fortunately the final explosive damage upgrade is soon to be completed, and we will be at our full power as well. First, it is time to clean up the UPS dropping biter bases though. Nice. It seems the starting area is a bit less crowded compared to the first time we stormed out that door here. Now we simply check out the map view and target all the nests which look like they're about to be strangled by the incredibly dense pollution cloud. Those are the ones sending the combined black hole biter force, so once we take out all of those, UPS should be good again for a little while. It is all smallish nests with medium to big worms, so skip. And it's done. The center of the map is a deserted desert now, and the pollution cloud is no longer strongly strangling any nests. We have managed to push out to the most nearby coastlines on 4 points now, which ushers in a new strategy. Instead of clearing out the biters in a big outward spiral, we now shall take out each of the 4 remaining peninsulas in separate pushes. The pollution cloud spreads out equally in all directions, so if we can make sure that some of those directions no longer contain biters, that should severely undermine the game's slowdown tactics of the black hole biters, which hopefully means we can go through most of the rest of the bombastic bug bombing at full game speed. However, it's not gonna be easy. We are now pushing out so far away from spawn, the biter bases will become incredibly large and well equipped. Massive 600% maximum sized biter bases armed to the teeth with dozens of highly dangerous behemoth worms, who will wildly fling around acid projectiles equipped with stacking potions of slowness. Now, it's easy to dodge a handful of worms' acid projectiles, but there is no way we're gonna dodge literal hundreds of predictive projectiles per second, especially because their predictive shooting capabilities are still limited by their maximum range, which quite effectively blocks our capabilities to predict where the worm projectiles will end up. The predictive direction compared with the range limitation introduces a lot of practical projectile randomness, resulting in lots of stray hits to our spider. And the problem is, the stacking slowdown effect of each projectile could slow us down enough that we will be unable to move out of the way for new incoming projectiles, slowing you down even more. An infinite negative feedback loop which stun locks you into place. And if that happens, well, all that a better armor will do is give you a little more time to write your farewell note. Next time.